I'm Annie.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah, where we talk about the smart way to create a compassionate and professional private practice.
Let's dive in.
Well, hey there, Leah.
Hey, Annie. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited because we are hanging out with Nichelle Clark for our Ask the Expert bonus episode. And she's here to talk about her relactation journey as a lactation professional. So welcome,
excited.
Nichelle. Can you say hi?
Hi. Hello.
We're so glad you're here. And to introduce Nichelle, for those of you that don't know her yet, Nichelle Clark uses the pronouns she, her, and she's a certified breastfeeding specialist, wife, and mother of one from Chesapeake, Virginia. She's the owner of Sunshine and Rainbows Lactation Services. She was born and raised in, I cannot say this with my Maryland accent, by the way. Let me give it my best shot. Born and raised in Upper Marlboro. My Baltimore wants to say Marlboro, Maryland.
That's it. No, say it in your Baltimore. Yeah.
Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Nichelle joined the United States Navy in 2010 and served honorably for 7.5 years. We thank you for your service.
Oh.
In her spare time, she admins multiple online support groups for people of color, providing breastfeeding support and lactation education to her local community. And I'm going to add, and beyond.
Yes.
So welcome, Nichelle.
We're so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, Nichelle, I know you had a very different journey. Like you were in the Navy and we're doing way different things than you're doing now. So tell us about what kind of led you into lactation. You know, I feel like we all have our story. What got you here? So what led you down this path?
So I am, of course, my business is called Sunshine and Rainbows. So I am a rainbow mom. I had my son after 2 pregnancies. It didn't work out. And I was in the Navy and that was, my purpose, but I really just wanted to be a mom. And, my husband and I, we tried and we finally got pregnant. And I just had a friend I went to college with and she's like, yes, are you going to breastfeed or not? And I was like, I don't know, sure, whatever. And so she's like, listen, I'll add you to this Facebook group. You can learn everything. And so I did that. I kind of just stumbled into breastfeeding. And then I decided that I did not want to nurse. I wanted to explore exclusively pumping. And so I did all my research and I did that. And then I had my son and we exclusively pumped for 17 months.
Whoa.
And he was able to get breast milk for 26 months. So a little bit after he was 2. So that was pretty much my journey. All the research that I needed to do was super hard because there's not a lot of people who are supportive of exclusively pumping or know a lot about it. So I had to come up with everything on my own, but we did it and we made it. And I'm, glad to be able to share that with other people now that I figured it out.
That's so cool. And I just want to clarify, did I hear you right that you pumped for 17 months, but then he got your milk for 26?
Mm-hmm. He did. I just had a natural oversupply. Yeah, I didn't do anything to make it come in. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that. That's so awesome. And what a blessing, because I know it's a hard journey to have a different journey, and that makes it like doubly hard. And you overcame a lot of things to make that happen.
I've had mastitis 5 times. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. It's crazy. I should have quit a long time ago.
Wow. You are.
I'm surprised my boobs are still hanging on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That is
so at what point in all of this, and you were, in your pumping journey, which I'm sure had like a lot of just, not just physical ups and downs, but like emotional ups and downs. It's such a like marathon, anything with parenting is, but at what point did you feel like that transition of I'm doing this for me and for my baby to, I want to help other people on their journeys?
Yeah. So initially I was the person who sought out all the education before I had him. And I reached out to some lactation professionals through his, the pediatrician's office we were going to go through and all that different stuff. And they were just like, you're never going to be able to maintain a supply if you don't latch him. And I was like, well, okay. And I found one IBCLC. She taught my breastfeeding class and she said, if you want to do this, you do it and you go full out. You know, there's not a lot of evidence on it, but you want to do it, you can. Biologically, you can. And so I did it. My baby was born. I said my baby. My son was born 6 pounds, 3 ounces. So he was really tiny, considering genetics, me and my husband. And he was so tiny, and they were just like, we got to get his weight up. We got to get his weight up. Let's give him formula. I'm like, no, let me try. And I did it. And so it became this thing where I'm like, okay, now like I'm a mom. I can do this. Like I can make my baby grow. And I just started sharing stuff like on social media, and people would reach out to me like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. Or like, how did you do it? And so I started sharing. And then from there, it just kind of took off. So yeah.
And now you're working towards becoming an IBCLC while actively helping families as a certified breastfeeding specialist. So you're doing it, and you're going to keep doing it. And that's awesome.
That is so exciting. We're so excited to have you in the field with us. It's so awesome.
And
you bring so much the angle that you have, and to have walked that journey and to be able to share that is like, what so many of us come into this profession kind of bringing our experiences and then growing your knowledge base so that you can really help others. I think super awesome.
Because Leah and I, when we were having our babies and starting our journey of helping families, we were exactly what you were told, is that, exclusive pumping, it's too hard. It's nobody can do it. And then, but like, you're here to tell us that we're wrong about that. And it's, that's why, like, really, like, being told you're wrong can be one of the best experiences you can have in your life.
Absolutely. It pushes you. It's like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I hate to say that, but it's like, it just takes that drive in you. And it's like, you know what? You said I couldn't do it. Watch me.
Yeah. And then to, like, as a professional, to get challenged on my assumptions and have to look into like what I was taught, and to say like, gosh, there's like these things that I accept because that's what I was told are not necessarily true, not evidence-based, not what people are doing. And following your journey, getting to know you, reading how you advocate for, I will always associate this phrase with you. Pumping is breastfeeding.
I know. I love that.
It is. And just that shift of like speaking those words, it's been very powerful for me in my own clinical practice to just bring that energy to the families that I'm working with, and just seeing how it changes them to hear me say that to them as the person there to help them, to be like, you are breastfeeding. And they're like, and not a single one has been like, no, I'm not. They're all like, I am.
They want to take ownership. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And so I know through this whole crazy pandemic thing, some things like shifted for you because you had already ended your journey. And then you had stopped your breastfeeding journey around, you said like 17 months. And so now your little one's older, but this pandemic kind of sparked something in you. Tell us a little bit about that and like what happened.
Yeah, so it's an excuse. I used COVID-19 as an excuse to relactate. I had been missing it. No one tells you about, I think there's maybe like 3 articles I found about it, about after you start breastfeeding and you start weaning, how those hormones and those emotions affect you. And so like for the longest time, I was like, I can't wait to be done with this. I'm going to get him to a certain we're going to be done. And then I started weaning, and I started having all the feels and all the emotions. And I was like, once I was done, I was like, I miss it. And he loves breast milk. So, he'll ask for it with his food and stuff, and having to be like, all right, honey, we don't have anymore. It's not like unlimited supply. It was harder for me than I thought it was going to be. And so he finished his last little bit of milk around December, and I still had milk through this whole time. So even then, my body was producing milk, not as much. And so when the pandemic happened, I was just like, you know what? This will be a great time for me to just like give him some immunity or some antibodies to whatever's out there. And I used it as an excuse to relactate. so that's what I did. I picked up my pump and I started just, pumping. And that was about a month and a half ago.
That is amazing. And what kind of prompted you? Because I know you've shared this journey very publicly. What prompted that to happen? Like, why were you like, I want to tell more people about this? What was that?
So for Black History Month, I did a thing with a friend, and we do a donation group for Black breastfeeding moms of color. And in our community, it's not really talked about. It's not really a thing. Milk sharing, peer-to-peer sharing, milk banking, unless you're like in the hospital and critically ill. It's just really not something that we talk about a lot in our community. And so I thought, why not share my journey? Why not bring awareness? And then normalizing it, because a lot of the moms, I was a donor. I still am. I'm a donor now. So the milk that I'm making now, I'm donating majority of it and then a little bit for my own child. But a lot of the moms who have to seek out milk, it's one of these things like, I don't know, should I ask? Do people do this? Is this a thing? And so I wanted them to know that like you're not alone. And if you're having issues feeding your baby in this pandemic or just in life, like it's okay. And there are people who are more than willing to help you.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. It's so like fun to think about people who are taking what we're going through and using it as a reason to reach out to other people and share information. And I know like for me, getting clinical inspiration is a really helpful distraction from all of the stress of living in a pandemic. So I've really loved watching you share with what's happening. And it does feel like she got more today, and watching those bags fill up is like so exciting. I mean, it's been a long time since I had milk coming out of mine. So living vicariously through you, because, you know, I do have like any of us that have breastfed, you know, when it's done, you never forget what that meant to you forever, how long you did it, even if it was a short amount of time. It's always something that, you know, you have a memory of and have emotions attached to. And so I definitely really resonated with what you were saying about like, my body can do something for somebody else. And how amazing is that? It's the coolest.
I know. I remember the day that you got the first sprays. And I was like, oh, there's sprays. I was so excited. And it's been so fun to watch the journey. And then like to add on top of it, knowing, you know, what we know about lactation, it's like, oh, you know, her volume's really getting up there. You know, it's like the context it's just been such a fun thing to get to watch your journey for sure.
Oh, thank you.
So as somebody who's been now like on both sides and recently, you know, not like a million years ago like me, but like lately, like Tuesday, you've been dealing with this.
Just before I hopped on here, I had to do my 230 pump. So yeah, I had to.
What pump do you use? I've got to ask.
So I use the Spectra S1 and I also use the LV. It's been really helpful because I have a very active 2.5-year-old. So even though the Spectra S1 is great, that's what I used with him initially, you know, little wires and stuff. And, you know, you don't want to be karate chopped by Spider-Man with your pump tubing. So I need something a little bit more mom friendly.
Cool. So the Spectra S2 and the LV, and you've been happy with the LV?
Yes. I love it. It is a godsend for moms with very active children, or, you know, if you have to work, even me, like I've had virtual consults and stuff or latch assist, you know, appointments. And I've been able to like, all right, I'm going to make my pump breaks and, you know, I have to pull out a bunch of stuff. So it's worked out really well.
So what do you want other lactation consultants and lactation professionals to know about working with families who are exclusively pumping or who are relactating? What are the things that you want to make sure we all know?
I want them all to know that pumping is breastfeeding. That is my thing. Pumping is breastfeeding. And then if you say it, you'll begin to believe it and you'll be able to live it. But honestly, relactation is hard. It's super duper hard. So I used to always say, I'm like, oh yeah, relactation is possible. And here's the way. And, you know, in the books and the journals, they tell you the steps and the tools, but when you're really going through it, you know, it's hard. And my child isn't dependent on this milk to live. You know, he can eat other foods. He's old enough to do that now. But I just imagine if he wasn't. And, you know, we're all excited because I'm getting sprays. But like before that, you know, for 3 weeks, I was just getting droplets. I would pump, you know, around the clock, 8 times a day, you know, staying up late at night to make sure I got those midnight pumps in right before I got me some sleep. And I was just getting drops. And it's so discouraging sometimes. And it's just like, okay, I'm doing all this work. Like, is it even worth it? And then I can celebrate those, oh yeah, those milestones. But for those parents, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And you have to have a great support system. And I mean that support system in your lactation professional. Definitely cheering you on, definitely just being there with the information. So
what can we say that makes things better, that really shows that our clients that we are their cheerleader? Because I know that's what Leah and I want to be and how we want to show up for them. So like, can you give us some examples of wordings that can really like help speak goodness into these families' lives?
I think it's just that compassion, stepping away a little bit from what the book says. We know what the book says. We are the professionals. We have the access to the resources, but really that compassion, asking how they're doing. I did work with an IBCLC. Her name is Brenna Sampy, and she is amazing. She specializes in trans lactation and adoptive lactation. So she was really able to help me get that milk supply back up. But she was just there, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? I know it's hard. I know, you must be going through these stages. This is the beginning stage, and just keep it up. So just those little check-ins to say, okay, I understand that this is hard for you, and I just want to be able to support you in any way you need it. Sometimes it's just they need a funny meme or, just a quick conversation. And sometimes they really need you to be honest with them. Like she's saying, she told me, she said, listen, you're going to have times where you're only going to get drops. Do not give up. You can do this. You can press through it. So mixing the facts, because we have the facts with that compassion, I think is super duper helpful.
It sounds like to me, working with a mom that might be relactating or a family that's choosing exclusive pumping, that they really need a lot of maybe walking along the journey with them. Like, I hate to say hand holding because you're definitely not doing the work, but you're like standing by them, holding the space for them.
Yeah.
Versus like, I think in some lactation consults, we give our care plan and then we might, wait for them to reach out to us if they're having problems. Like if things aren't getting better, we're like kind of waiting on them. It sounds like in these journeys, because the path is more challenging, it's like a steeper climb. You're saying that having more check-ins, more just being there for them and letting them know like you can do this, like that cheerleading is really what shifts it, is what I'm hearing you say. Am I right about that?
Yeah, definitely. And then the resources, one thing that was really helpful to me was to have resources about it even before I started. Okay, so this is exclusive pumping. This is what it is. You may randomly at 3:00 in the morning have this one question. Here's a link for that, so that kind of stuff is super helpful because then I'm up and Dr. Google is telling me that my leg is going to fall off even though I'm talking about milk. So it's like just having those resources there for them, I think is really, really helpful because like you said, it's super challenging and some people don't think pumping is breastfeeding. And so that's hard. You don't know. A lot of moms I deal with don't know that they should go to a lactation consultant if they're having issues with pumping. I mean, that's a really big thing. I'll say, hey, well, have you thought about seeing IBCLC? And they're like, well, no, I'm pumping. And I'm like, no, they're there for that too. Definitely just the support and even in like your practices, social medias, just putting stuff out there about that so that people know, okay, I can come to them if I'm having an issue with my pump, if my phalanges don't fit, if I'm not getting, as much milk as I was before I went back to work. So stuff like that.
That's super helpful. It made me think of another question during this journey of, well, both journeys that you've had, the exclusive pumping and the relactation. Did you also have like community support in the sense of like, did you reach out to other families who might be doing the same thing that you're doing? Did you have any resources like that available to you? Because I know, they say like mom to mom support or peer to peer support is so helpful. Did you have that available to you?
I did. With the exclusive pumping, there are a few like groups on Facebook that are really, really good. There's one called Exclusive Pumping, Breastfeeding Without Nursing, and it's ran by lactation professionals. So that was super duper helpful to have the clinical side of lactation with also people who are going through it and other moms, not just the professionals, but other moms saying, this is something I went through. This is normal for you to, feel like this or experience this. And then with relactation, it took a little while for me to kind of find, I had to search out like groups about relactation and parents doing it. And a friend randomly invited me to a group and I was able to find some support there. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now you're creating that support space for other people with the work that you're doing. And it's just, that's what it's all about, is we take what we've gone through and we like show the greatness of it as a way to help other people. And we really see you as somebody who is just making a big difference for not just for families, but for lactation professionals, for us, like really by like, the more we get to know you, the more we're inspired to make changes in the way we do things. And that's a good thing. I'm into it. I'm here for it. So
yes, I appreciate you helping us be better at our jobs.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much again for being with us. You also may know Nichelle as one of the co-founders and creative geniuses behind the boob tees, which Leah and I often wear. I'm not wearing one today, but Leah is. So she does those with Courtney Polk, and they are so fun. And I have too many of them, but you can't have too many because they keep coming up with new cute ones. Can't have too many. And so if you want to learn more about boob tees and also get to know Nichelle better and check out her blog, you can go to her website, which is sunshineandrainbowslactation.com. And she's got some great articles up there. She's got some good infographics. She's got one on milk storage that is pretty great to look at. And then while you're there, you're going to spend all your disposable income on t-shirts. That's what happens.
Totally happened to me.
Yep, it happened to me too. So thank you for listening to this bonus episode, Ask the Expert on lactation business coaching. We hope to see you in the lactation business coaching community at patreon.com/lactation business coaching. Your support as a patron helps us to continue to provide you with our podcast for free. And these bonus episodes, we are able to do these because we have seen such great support for the podcast or the community. So please join, please give your money. We promise to use it to show you cool people like Nichelle.
Yes.
All right. Until next time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nichelle. Bye.
Bye.
Want to continue the conversation? Join our community and connect with other private practice lactation consultants just like you. We offer support and exclusive member-only content designed to help you create a compassionate and professional private practice. We're all in this together at patreon.com/lactation business coaching. And if you enjoyed today's episode, leave us a review and share it with a friend. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.